On October 6, Brown Mogotsi told us that ANC Secretary General Vigilante travels the world with the killer.
If Vigilante is doing on the utterance, let me give you one. He traveled with Vusi abroad. Vusi has been convicted and sentenced for the killing of one person.
On October 16, he told us that criminals are funding the ANC campaigns.
I will explain it like bit by bit. Why was it important for me to inform Cat? In one of the radio stations, I said, if Cat was able to fund the ANC January 8th with 100,000, whatever, don't you think he has told me who else has he given money to?
And then he allegedly faked his own hit on November 4.
That he refused to open a case last night, citing fears for his life. So we are still waiting for him. He had promised that he would make himself available at around 8 o'clock. And up until now, it's now 10:30. He is a no-show at the Vusi police station. We have registered a case of attempted murder.
And if you think Brown Mogotsi is having a dramatic end of the year, he is not done. This is how he entered the Madlanga Commission. And just a few hours into his testimony, Brown Mogotsi continued to drop bombshells at the commission. And then he said, controversial businessman Vusimuzi Matlala is John Wick. The whole country had to repeat that part again. What does he mean Matlala is John Wick? John Wick is not just a name. This is a feared name in Mamelodi, a name belonging to a man who allegedly wiped out a notorious gang by himself. In just 1 month, John Wick allegedly killed 8 members of the Boko Haram gang. So what does Brown Mogotsi mean when he says Cat Vusimuzi Matlala is the John Wick of Mamelodi?
There's a picture of John Wick, his ID number. It has his previous convictions, pending cases, and everything, all the matters that were withdrawn against him. It was in 2018 October, Commissioner. Commissioner, John Wick is Vusimuzi Matlala. Even the picture is showing that.
Welcome to True Crime Julia. On this channel, we look into true crime cases that have happened in South Africa. For the past 3 weeks, we have been covering Cat Matlala cases. Please kindly check them out for a more detailed look into his life. Today's story comes just a few hours after Brown Mogotsi mentioned Cat Matlala's name at the Madlanga Commission on Tuesday. So please also note that as it stands, this story is based on allegations. Let us get into it.
You will recall, colleagues, that we had an incident at Vusimuzi, a mass murder that happened there. And the Minister of Police had gone visiting the families and that crime scene. So after this communication, the Provincial Commissioner called the Chief of Staff, Mr. Nkabinde, the Chief of Staff of the Minister of Police, and asked the Chief of Staff, who is this Brown Mogotsi? This Brown Mogotsi seems to be traveling with the minister to Vusimuzi. Who is he? Because I've never heard of him. The response from the Chief of Staff was that Mr. Brown Mogotsi is an associate of the minister.
I think I picked up something that Provincial Commissioner Nkabinde is saying about some fellow. 2 weeks ago, it does happen in a week or 2 or 3. I think a week and a half ago, I got somebody insisting that there's somebody who's going around saying he works with me wherever I am, he is there. And I said, show me the face. And it got to a point where he showed me the face, and I told him, I don't know this person. And a week before, there was another person, Mkhunu, who said is my younger brother. My younger brother died in 2005, and I don't have any other. And so when the person says so, you really, so I think we must be very circumspect when people come to us and say, I'm an associate of this and that. I'm no associate to the person that John Wick is referring to. But I appreciate whatever they discussed and then those things coming out so that I understand who is saying what, where, and so on. I do know that possibly all of us.
Brown Mogotsi has enjoyed a private life for the most part just before this press briefing.
He's an associate of the minister, but is not employed in a department. That's when I got a confirmation about Mr. Brown Mogotsi. And I asked the chief of staff to send the phone number of this Brown Mogotsi, of which he did. It is that number that made me to confirm that indeed the person who's sending me WhatsApp messages is the same person that is called Brown Mogotsi and is from Northwest. On the 5th of March 2025, the South African police appeared before the Portfolio Committee in Parliament. A presentation was made to this Portfolio Committee by the Provincial Commission of KwaZulu-Natal, which included the allegations of an associate of the Minister of Police, Mr. Brown Mogotsi. The minister denied on record. Go and Google a visual presentation to the Portfolio Committee on the 5th of March this year, towards the end of that briefing, where the Minister of Police responded and he said he does not know this Mr. Brown Mogotsi. He said that in Parliament. However, the minister confirmed that he knows this Mr. Brown Mogotsi during the telephone conversation that he had, which was posted on X under the a handler at Load Care. This was on the 30th of March, where he confirmed that this was his comrade from Northwest. The conversation between the minister and that lady is available. You can go on X and find it on the 30th. If it has been removed from that account, as we finish this briefing, I'll share that with you.
Yesterday, November 18, he told the Madlanga Commission that the statement that General Mkhwanazi was reading here was written at a college in Pretoria. This statement is the reason the entire country is here. It is also the reason he just told us that the most notorious hitman in Mamelodi, known as John Wick, is Vusimuzi Matlala.
Commissioner John Wick is Vusimuzi Matlala.
Matlala is currently held at the Kgoshi Correctional Center, the CMEX section in Pretoria. He is charged with the attempted murder of his ex-girlfriend and a former Movango actress Debo Rotavejani. He is also charged with the attempted murder of DJ Vedis and the attempted murder of a taxi boss by the name of Josie Banyoni. So when Brown Mogotsi said Matlala is John Wick, the country listened because this is not too far off. But first, let us understand who John Wick of Mamelodi is. In Mamelodi, east of Pretoria, crime is not just a headline, it is a daily reality. For years, residents have lived under the shadow of extortion, hijackings, assassinations, and the rise of violent gangs with names that sound like something out of a war zone. Names like Boko Haram, Farasai, and Al-Qaeda. But in 2021, a new name started dominating conversations, a name whispered in fear, debated on social media, and celebrated by some as a vigilante hero. The name wasn't random, it was deliberate, it was symbolic, a nod to the Hollywood assassin who hunts the underworld one target at a time. In Mamelodi, this called John Wick appeared to be targeting members of the Boko Haram gang, a notoriously violent criminal group known for extorting money from foreign-owned shops, hijacking property, running protection fee rackets, and threatening anyone who stood in their way. To many residents, it looked like someone was finally doing what the police could not or would not do. But behind the online hype, the celebrations, and the fear, police were dealing with something far more complicated. Because according to them, John Wick was not a hero. He wasn't even a vigilante. They believed that the killings were part of a violent turf war between Boko Haram and a breakaway faction called Farasai, also known as Bafarasai, a group allegedly involved in murder-for-hire operations, Inkabi. This was not justice, it was a business, and the business was bloody. So according to reports, Boko Haram was formed and it gained notoriety around 2016 and 2017. At first, the group was said to be comprised of local politicians who were not able to secure any prominent positions in the ANC. The group started off as a business forum. Their mandate was simple: to help young people and business in Mamelodi not to be sidelined by any big businesses that operate in the area. So their entire existence was to make sure that young people get jobs in malls. It is even said that young people would give members of the Boko Haram CVs so that they can help them get jobs. Boko Haram also made sure that local businesses get preferences in bigger projects around the area. However, before any of the good work they could do was known, Boko Haram clearly became a criminal gang that terrorized businesses in the area. They extorted protection fee money from big businesses and even small business owners like street vendors, saloon owners, and even individuals. They also preferred big construction businesses, and they would extort construction businesses by asking for 30% of their income. They then moved to terrorize community members as well. They would hijack their homes, and at some point, they made residents pay to have water in their homes. All of this was done through intimidation, and they would kill anyone who dared defies them. The community of Mamelodi was living in fear. They would report these matters to the police, but still nothing would be done. This gang was either too powerful or too well connected. They even allegedly hijacked a Tshwane municipality building between 2016 and 2018. They made tenants pay them, and they collected around 12 million rand a year from this. And the painful thing is that Boko Haram was not the only gang terrorizing the community of Mamelodi. There was Boko Haram, who mainly dealt with extortion of all kinds and contract hijacking in Mamelodi and surrounding areas. There was Al-Qaeda, who apparently focused on dope dealings and is behind most car hijackings. And then there was a breakaway group, Farasai. The gang was made up of former Boko Haram members, and they would deal with contract killings. So basically, the entire community was being held hostage.
Speaking about the so-called Boko Haram and the likes, these are cults, and we have always been saying that, not dealing decisively with the role models. There's a lot of recruitment of even the upcoming to join the certain cult or certain groups, like we call, some of them called Boko Harams. They come in different names, by the way. Mamelodi communities, one can say that once a point they were so happy.
And police statistics confirmed it. Mamelodi is consistently among the highest in Gauteng for murder, attempted murder, assault, robbery, and hijackings. Residents who speak out are threatened, cases collapse because witnesses withdraw, and people vanish. And then something bizarre happened. On August 29, 2021, at Santorini Lounge in Mamelodi, gunmen opened fire at a tavern, shooting 2 members of Boko Haram gang on the face with a rifle. On September 13, just 2 weeks later, at Silverton, another member of Boko Haram was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting. On 17 September, at a shopping complex in Mamelodi, another 30-year-old member of Boko Haram was shot and killed. And then, on 25 September, at Mamelodi Heights, a hostel in the area, 2 members of Boko Haram were shot inside a white Ford Ranger. They were 32 years old and 33. The other member died in hospital, and the other member survived. And on 2 October, another member of Boko Haram, only known as Nkululeko, was shot and killed at K-section in Mamelodi. On October 10, Solomon Tuli, another member, was shot multiple times while visiting his girlfriend at Mamelodi section GY. And then, on October 26, Philemon Mguni, Onkunzi, who was also known as Mamelodi's most feared gang, Boko Haram leader, was shot and killed. Nkunzi died when a car they were traveling in was shot in Rayton, east of Pretoria. He was traveling with another man. These shootings happened in a matter of weeks, just a few days apart, all by an unknown man. By the time he was done, about 20 gang members were allegedly shot and killed. The community celebrated. It seemed as if someone was God sent to fight their battles and get rid of the bad guys. So the legend of John Wick was born. They named this mysterious figure John Wick.
Barry, any luck? Who's John Wick? That is the question I've been putting to many members of the Mamelodi community. Many people very scared to speak. But it's something that's become an urban legend within this community. So just to give you a quick background what's been happening, it has actually been a couple of months now where members of the so-called Boko Haram gang were notorious in the area. There have been a lot of reports about them and the violence that they've been meting out on the community. It comes to extortion, go up to business and say, pay us money or else you're going to be robbed. And people have been paying out. Now there have been these murders of members of this Boko Haram gang, and the stories have now emerged that there is this lone vigilante who's going around killing the gangsters. And this is where this John Wick name came into it. The man has been dubbed this, much like Keanu Reeves' character of the movie of the same name.
The police, however, were not having it. They said this is not Hollywood. There's no mysterious figure that is going around killing gang members to help the community get rid of the bad guys. They believe that the people who are getting rid of members of Boko Haram are members of Bafarasai. They said this is a turf war and the members of the gangs are taking each other out, and these are revenge killings.
A team of investigators that includes crime intelligence was established by the Provincial Commissioner, Lieutenant General Elias Mawela, to track down the members of the so-called Boko Haram. Through crime intelligence, the team was able to locate this particular suspect in Mamelodi yesterday, and that is where he was arrested.
Crimes then is he believed to have committed?
Yes, Tejo, for now we have charged him with extortion, intimidation, and robbery, but investigation is still underway.
However, the community knew what they knew, and they stuck by the legend of John Wick. And the works of John Wick were not even finished. In May 2023, 5 members of Boko Haram, Eric Sibia, Sipiwe Sibego, Begi Chauke, Khala Phati, and Gladwin Mapanga were allegedly informed by a government official that a construction project had been approved, and they went to the construction site in Brongos Parade to extort a protection fee, insisting on providing said security at a cost of 30% share of the project. Unbeknownst to them, someone had already tipped the construction crew. When Boko Haram arrived, within 5 minutes, before they could even make their demands, they were taken somewhere, and they were brutally tortured for about 11 hours. According to reports, they were electrocuted. They had their fingernails pulled out and suffered broken bones as they were apparently tortured. They were then shot, killed, and then their bodies were dumped in Kalenel. All 5 of them had no chance of surviving. And since then, it is believed that the rest of the Boko Haram gang have now gone to ground, fearing retaliation, and have since been weakened as their members were killed. And then, once again, the community celebrated. Fast forward to 2025, John Wick's name would surface again, this time at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry.
Commissioner, John Wick is Vusimuzi Matlala.
Under oath, Brown Mogotsi claimed there was concrete evidence connecting Matlala to the alleged Vigilante killings in Mamelodi. Evidence, he said, that crime intelligence already compiled. Evidence he claims was handed directly to the then police minister Vigilante. He says it's a 6-page classified report with a photograph of the man allegedly known as John Wick, his ID number, his criminal history, pending cases, and even withdrawn matters. This is all according to Brown Mogotsi.
Presented to Minister Vigilante. It has a picture of John Wick, his ID number, it has his previous convictions, pending cases, and everything, all the matters that were withdrawn against him. It was in 2018 October, Commissioner. Commissioner, John Wick is Vusimuzi Matlala. Even the picture is showing that. Now, former Minister Vigilante says now he only met him in December 2024. Now, one will ask again. He even said he didn't know him. He invited him to his house, and it was a freebie. He had to take it. And I should also share it's within those messages between me and Matlala. The story that Minister Vigilante was in Kat's house. It is true. We actually had to arrest Minister Cele at that time. He was affected by this POCA Act, the Proceeds of Crime Act. There was an arrangement. I believe when you get to those messages, one will be able to allude to the commission exactly what happened. It was during the ANC Lekgotla.
And if true, this meant that the police knew exactly who John Wick was years before the killings went viral. Now, we cannot take away how dodgy of a witness Brown Mogotsi is. But then again, why is he even allowed to testify? But what are your thoughts? Do you believe anything that he is saying? And according to you, who is John Wick? Let us know in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next one.